All right, welcome back to the Sort of Sports Podcast, episode 40. Now, in the second episode of the new year, I think the last episode might be the episode I'm most proud of. I was very proud of myself when it came to finally putting out the 2022 Sort of Sporties. I'm really looking forward to that. I thought it turned out really well. Obviously, I'm the one who made it, so I'm I'm kind of tooting my own horn here, but I was pretty excited. Hoped everybody who listened to that enjoyed that because I was very, very happy to make it. And if you listen to that whole thing, I really appreciate it because that was just me going on for like over an hour just about movies and TV shows. I've actually watched 3 movies already into 2023, so it's pretty exciting. And then I've started 2 TV shows, so that's good. I'm probably going to start Last of Us Monday. I don't think I'm going to watch it tomorrow night. I'm going to watch NFL tomorrow night. So I started Winning Time, the Lakers show on HBO, and then I started Transformers: War on Cybertron, the first part of that. There's 3 parts. Each part is 6 episodes. I do enjoy me some Transformers stuff, so that looked like right up my alley. So I decided to try that, and I was enjoying it. Except I fell asleep, which I know sounds weird because I just said I was enjoying it, but I was really tired. All right, I kind of beat last night, and I started it. So I think the 3 films I've watched. First movie I watched of 2023 was Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers film. Then I watched Marriage Story, and then right before recording this, I just watched The Nice Guys. So that is all I've watched. So that's exciting. Probably gonna think the next movie I'm gonna watch is Dunkirk. So I think I'm gonna have more movies watched this year than I did last year, and that's not like I was disappointed in my output last year. I thought I did well. I just think there's a lot of movies that I don't know. I've just been watching. In the span of 14 days, and we're only 14 days, 2 weeks into 2023. I've already got 3 movies watched. So not a bad stat line at the moment. So, let's look at the 2022 NFL season. Overall, I said at the beginning of the year, I think we were in for a crazy year, and I 100% believe I was right on that. I think, it was very competitive. Even your teams that had weaker records, like your Broncos and your Cardinals and your Rams, still had big games. Even the Texans got a big win at the end of the year. The Bears obviously had some great play out of Fields. I don't even know why they'd consider drafting anybody else. Like quarterback wise, they need to get Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Like there's no shot they're taking somebody that's a quarterback. Wouldn't even make sense in my opinion. I think Fields is the guy there. But regardless of all that, to me, I think we had a great season because I like when it's super competitive. There's not a huge divide between your best team and your worst team, and that's always more exciting. You get better games, get more exciting season. And if you look, some of the teams that were good early on aren't as good now, like the Dolphins. And the only thing I think that brought it down was the injuries. Lamar's the big one for me because I'm a big Lamar guy. I think that this could have potentially been the Ravens' year if Lamar was healthy. I think Harbaugh's a good coach for Lamar. That team's really fits well with him. I think it's the best the Ravens have looked in his entire career there. Other than even in 2019, I think they looked probably better this year than they did in 2019. They were like 14-2 that year, or something crazy. That was the last year before they went 17 games. But I'm pretty sure they went 14-2, like 13-3 that year. But I think they looked even better this year when Lamar was there. I think they looked great, and it's a shame. I don't know what's going to go on with Lamar. I don't really see him leaving, but I don't know. To me, it's like every year is another year off the clock with these AFC quarterbacks. There's so much talent there. Like Herbert, is going to win a Super Bowl at some point. Lawrence is probably going to win a Super Bowl at some point the way he's been playing. Obviously, Mahomes, you can't bet on him to not win another one. Allen, the Bills every year in the last couple of years have been picked to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Burrow could get back there. And so, Lamar's is just another guy in that system where it's like, whew, is he going to get his shot? Tua maybe. So there's a lot of good talent there in the AFC, and I think that's tough to be in the NFC to me right now. I can tell you right now before I do my predictions, it's Eagles-Niners. It's the only game that matters. Those are the 2 best teams there, and you just have to pick which one you like better. And I do have one I prefer. Probably not really surprising for those of you who know my favorite coach is, who I think is the best coach. I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's easily the one I think is the best. I don't know. Maybe he's my favorite. Not sure. As far as Panthers coaching staff goes, if you want to know my opinion, I just want us to be good. So I think Wilkes needs to be on the staff. I understand if they don't want to bring him as head coach, but you need to keep him, maybe promote him to defensive coordinator. But I'm not sure exactly, but he needs to be on the staff. He got that locker room fired up. And if he's put as head coach, I will not be upset in the slightest. So that's my opinion on the whole Panthers thing. I do believe we should be drafting a quarterback. I'm fine with Anthony Richardson. I'd love to get Hendon Hooker later in the rounds, and I don't think they're going to do that. I can deal with C.J. Stroud if that's what we really do. I would probably rather have Stroud than Bryce Young, if you want me to be completely honest. Will Levis would be exciting. So really anybody but Bryce Young. I'm not super high on Stroud, though. Don't really like Stroud, but it's my Panthers. I'll support no matter what. I mean, I supported us when we got Sam Darnold, so that just shows you how committed I am. So, yeah, overall, I think we probably had a Hood Classic NFL season. I think we're going to look back and be like, this is a great year. And I think the competitiveness feeds into who I picked to win the Super Bowl because to me, in a year where things are very competitive, it's going to be your team that's most consistent and is overall just the best team instead of, like, I'm picking the team I trust when it comes to winning the Super Bowl. If that makes sense. But I'll get that to a bit in there in a bit. Let's look back at my 2022 NFL season predictions that I did at the beginning of the seasons. Yes. All the seasons they played this year. So let's look at that real quick. So in the NFC East, I actually got this one completely correct. Very exciting. I got the Eagles. I had them going 11-6 and being the 3 seeds in the playoffs. They did not go 11-6. They went 14-3. But they did win the East. Second, I had the Cowboys. Second, I had the Giants at 8-1, which I was almost right on. They were 9-7-1, but they were third because second was the Cowboys at a record of 12-5. I had them going 6-11, so they did even better than if you reversed mine. So they did well. Washington Commies, I had them going 5-12, and they went 8-1. So that division really stepped up from what I predicted. I almost had the order right. But, yeah. Then let's go to the NFC North. Not terrible for me. I had the Lions going 10-7 being the 1 seed. They went 9-8, so that's not bad. But they were definitely not the 1 seed. They were the 2 seed, just missed out on the playoffs. Packers were my 2 seed, also the 7 seed in the playoffs. They were our last wild card spot. I had them 9-8. They did go 8-9. Wasn't terribly off, but they did make playoffs. Thank the Lord. So glad they lost. 3 spot, I had the Vikings going 7-10, and I was completely wrong. They went 13-4 and won the division. So that one, I was very off on that. Did not believe in the Vikings really at all. And you'll see by my predictions later, I'm still not the biggest fan. And then 4, I had the Bears at 3-14. I was perfect on that. They did go 3-14 and were last. So there we go. All right, NFC West. I had the Rams winning it at 13-4. They went 5-12, were the 3 seed. So part of that's injuries. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Baker played well for them, but yeah, definitely off there. Then second seed, I had the Niners going 11-6. They did much better than that, 13-4, whole 2 games difference, and they won the division. Cardinals, I had going 7-10. They went 4-13, even worse than I believed. And I had them third. They ended up being fourth. So they're a mess right now. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury out as coach there. Don't know what's going to go on there. I don't think Sean Payton's going to go there. I feel like Payton would go to the Broncos of anywhere. I don't think there's a chance he goes to the Chargers like I want him to be with Herbert. I don't think I'm that lucky. We'll get to the Brandon Staley beatdown later. And then 4, I had the Seahawks at 1-16. Completely wrong. It's probably my biggest upset here. 9-8 on the year. Wild card bound. Geno Smith balling out. So props to the Seahawks. I did not believe in them at all. And they really proved me and a lot of people wrong. NFC South. I had the Bucs winning it at 12-5. They did not do anywhere near that well. They went 8-9. Just barely won the division. Everybody else went 7-10. Panthers, Saints, Falcons all went 7-10. I had the Panthers going 10-7, so that was disappointing. I had the Saints going 8-9, and I had the Falcons 4-13. So the Falcons did better than I expected. Saints were about where I thought, and Panthers were significantly worse than expected. But that's just how it goes with my Panthers. All right, so over to the AFC. Okay, AFC. So I had in the AFC East, I had the Bills going 14-3 and winning the division. They are 13-3. Obviously, the DeMar Hamlin Monday Night Football game. Watching that live, that was terrifying. I'm really glad that he's doing better. That was quite the watch. That was really, obviously a lot of people have talked about it, but I haven't recorded since that happened, and that was, I actually had my girlfriend really likes the Bengals. She really likes Joe Burrow, and she really likes the Bills. Bills are a favorite team. Burrow's like a favorite player. So it was like a big old deal. We're going to watch the game, and then that happened, and I was like, whoa, that was a lot, because it was like my whole night had built to that, and then that happened, and I was like, that was really scary. So I'm really glad everything turned out okay, because that was I'm really glad Hamlin's doing better, and it was really cool how the entire sports media really supported him and was behind him. That was really cool to see that come together. And so, yeah, that was really scary. So I'm glad everything turned out okay there. But yeah, 13-3 for the Bills. I predicted them being 14-3. Patriots I had next at 7-9. I had no one making the AFC East other than the Bills. So that's wrong because the Dolphins were a wild card. So Patriots at 7-9. They ended up going 8-9, better than I thought. Still don't make the playoffs. 3, I had the Dolphins at 5-12. They ended up going 9-8. Could have done significantly better if Tua wasn't injured. So, yeah, I was completely wrong on the Dolphins. Jets I had at 4-13. They completely blew that out of the water, went 7-10, and looked great, especially early on in the season. And now they're looking into that offseason thinking, can we get Lamar to come to New York? I don't think so. I really don't think Lamar's leaving Baltimore. But if the Jets could get a good quarterback, they could definitely do something. I love Sauce Gardner. I think you all know that. I've talked about it multiple times, how much I love him. And then obviously Garrett Wilson's been great for them. So, he could potentially be Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that's exciting stuff. AFC West, I predicted the Chargers to win at 12-5. They came in second at 10-7. I had the Broncos next at 11-6. This was my biggest misfire. The Broncos went 5-12. Obviously, a lot of people, me included, believed in the Broncos, and they completely disappointed this year. And Russ, and barring something unforeseen next year, has kind of been exposed. He's not as good as we all thought he was. And then I had the Chiefs going 9-8, and Tyreek Hill apparently wasn't that important because now they're 14-3 and won the division. So I had them being the 7th seed in the AFC, and they ended up being the 1 seed and going 14-3. So props to my boy Mahomes. Should have never bet against him. 4, I had the Raiders at 6-11. They did go 6-11, and they were the 3rd in real life. I had them going 4th at 6-11. So good thing I didn't bet on the Raiders. AFC North, I had the Ravens winning it at 11-6. They went 10-7, came in second. I had the Bengals next at 10-7. They went 12-4, so even way better than I thought they would. A 3-game difference, pretty impressive. So props to the Bengals. Super Bowl hangover minimal. I mean, the first couple games of the year they looked a little rough, and then boom, just like last year, they came together about week 4, week 5, and just been rolling ever since. Then 3, I had the Steelers at 8-9. They went 9-8, so one game. Well, like a 2-game difference, kind of. Whatever. But I remember I did put the Browns last at 4-13. They went 7-10. Better than I thought, but still not that good. I'm glad I didn't bet for the Browns. Steelers, props to them. Tomlin has yet to have a losing season, so that's exciting. I've been big on the Colts in the past. I was big on them this year. I've had them going 10-7, win the South. Completely wrong. They went 4-12 and looked terrible. Probably going to draft Will Levis if they can, or Bryce Young maybe. I'm not sure. Then I had the Titans at second place at 7-10. That is completely right. I was completely right at the Titans going 7-10, being second place, and missing the playoffs. So that was exciting. I had the Jaguars at 3 at 5-12. They went 9-8 and won the division. So great work by the Jaguars. It looked a little rough to start, and then his last couple of weeks, they're on a 5-game win streak. So that's props to them. Also, the Bengals are on a 8-game win streak. I think that's the largest in the NFL. Yeah, them and the Bills have the 2. Oh no, the Niners. How could I forget about my boys? I do the Niners. 10 wins, of course, because they're dogs like that. Then I had the Texans last at 3-14. They went 3-13 and won. So I should have said the Colts won 4 games. They went 4-12 and 1. I had them going 10-7. So I did have the Texans last, and I was right on that. I don't think my predictions were awful, but I don't think they were very good either. I think I could have done significantly worse. And we will see that when we look at my playoff predictions on the AFC side. So it's not the best. NFC, I'm still happy with. But let's do my awards predictions. For Coach of the Year, I predicted Dan Campbell. Not a terrible pick by any means, but I definitely think he's not going to win it. If they would have made the playoffs, he maybe could have made a shot for it, but I think there's a pretty clear candidate I'll talk about later. Comeback, I had Derrick Henry. He's very possible. I think that's still pretty likely and on the table. Defensive Player of the Year, I had Joey Bosa. Obviously, I really thought the Chargers were going to be really something this year, and this is going to be their big year to break out. So I took him Defensive Player of the Year. Probably the wrong Bosa to pick. So definitely not Joey Bosa. Offensive Player of the Year, Jonathan Taylor. Didn't have as big of a year as last year. And the Colts, being 4-12 and 1, you're not going to get too many awards. So Defensive Rookie of the Year, I had Aiden Hutchinson. Could very well happen. I do think Sauce is going to win it. I'll just say it right now. I think it's going to go to Sauce. But Aiden Hutchinson, not a bad pick. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Pickens, George Pickens. He's not going to win it, but he did play really well in the last couple weeks this season. So not awful, but he's definitely not going to win it. And then MVP was Russell Wilson. Terrible take. That is monumentally horrible. He he was the disappointment of the year, and I had him winning MVP. So, yeah, did not go well for me on the MVP. All right, let's talk about my NFC picks because these aren't terrible. So the way my wild card turned out was Packers, Bucks, Eagles, Panthers, and Lions, Niners. I had the Niners beating the Lions, the Eagles beating the Panthers, and the Bucks beating the Packers. Then the DS, the Rams play the Niners and lose. The Bucks play the Eagles and lose. My NFC title was Eagles-Niners, which I still believe is going to be the NFC title. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. That is what I believe. I'll tell you. I'm going to do my playoff predictions in a moment. I'm going to tell you that. So I might as well just say it now. So, sorry, I was making sure I got the bracket saved for later because I'm going to pop a bracket up when I do my picks here in a moment. So let me get that saved. All right. So my NFC title was Eagles-Niners, and I took the Niners to win, and I put the Niners in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. We'll see if that's telling for later. On the AFC side, this one gets rough. So I took the Chargers playing the Chiefs, took Chargers to win. Ravens played the Bengals, took the Bengals to win. Oh, no, I took the Ravens. Sorry. Colts playing the Broncos. Oh, no, I changed at the last moment. I went with Bengals beating the Ravens. Okay. Well, I was right on the Ravens playing as the 3 and 6 seed, except the Bengals were the 3 and the Ravens were the 6. Colts, Broncos played. Broncos won. Bills, Broncos. Broncos won. Chargers, Ravens. Chargers win. AFC title. Chargers, Broncos. Wow. And I remember saying to Quinn, hey, I might take the Broncos to be in the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to. I think it could happen. So glad I didn't say that. It's even more embarrassing. Chargers would win. Super Bowl 57. I had Niners, Chargers, and the Chargers winning the title, and me being so happy because my boy Herbert won the Super Bowl. It's not happening. So, not happening. The NFC side I'm still pretty proud of, but the AFC side, not so much. All right, let's get into my current NFL awards predictions. At MVP, I think Hurts really had it a lot of the year. I really do. But being injured at the end of the year, I think really took it away from him. I do think it's going to go to Mahomes. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He's always an MVP candidate. And I think if Hurts would have played those last couple weeks of the season, he could have won it, them being the 1 seed. But being as the Eagles and the Chiefs have the same record now, yeah, I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, they're both 14-3. I think they're going to give it to Mahomes. He played every game of the year. I think he has slightly better stats than Hurts. His pop off the page a little more passing touchdowns. So I think Mahomes will be MVP, and I'm very happy with that. We all know I'm a big Mahomes backer. I don't really know where he really sits in my quarterback rankings anymore because obviously when it comes to my favorite player in the NFL, it is Justin Herbert. Like nobody else comes close, really. Second place, I don't know, because I know the top 5 in some order is Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, and then maybe Mac Jones. Honestly, I do like Mac Jones, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where Mac Jones is. But I got a clear spot for whoever the Panthers draft. I mean, hopefully I like him, right? Actually, Brock Purdy would probably replace Mac Jones. I do love Brock Purdy. He's my guy. So, yeah, I think it'd probably go Herbert 1. Maybe Lamar might be 2 at this point. I freaking love Lamar Jackson. So maybe Lamar's 2, Burrow 3, Mahomes 4, Purdy 5, maybe? I don't know. I don't know where Mahomes sits with me anymore. I guess I'll figure out after this NFL playoffs because he's going to beat some team I like, and then I'll be like, oh, no. And then I'll know how much I truly like him. Maybe that'll be the answer. All right, Offensive Player of the Year. I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. By his numbers, the best wide receiver in the league. And to be honest, if you watch the games, I think he is the best wide receiver in the league. I think Tyreek's 2, he's 1, and then Stephon is 3. So I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. And props to him. Had an amazing year. So Defensive Player of the Year. This is tough, but I'm going to go with Nick Bosa. The Niners obviously have an exceptional record. They are the 2 seed in the NFC. They've been great all year. And I think it makes sense that they're going to, get an award. And defensively, they have the best defense in the league, so why not reward the best player on that defensive squad? I think on the year, Nick Bosa, I would like to believe, has 14 sacks. Let me check that really quick for you. 18.5. What? Are you freaking serious? Oh, my gosh. Right? In 1 year? Wait a minute. That's a lot. It's a lot of sacks, guys. I'm just saying. I mean, he was the number 2 pick in his draft. I guess I don't. I mean, he's kind of a big deal. Yeah, 18.5 sacks on the year. So yeah, he's winning it. That's wow. Well, he just had 3 sacks. Huh. No, he didn't have sorry. I was reading the stats wrong. How many? I thought he had 3 sacks in one game. I was like, dude, what an absolute unit. Wow. Okay, well, I knew I was going to pick him, but I didn't realize it was this apparent. Sheesh. Wow. 18.5 sacks is a lot. That's wow. Okay, I'm kind of like shell shocked by like how much that is. Wow. Okay. Well, good for Nick. That's wow. Okay. For the year, the NFL sack leaders. So he has the most, not surprising, at 18.5. Next up's Hassan Riddick for the Eagles. He should get some love because he's played great for them. I thought about giving it to him, but I didn't because I think, wow, 18.5 sacks is, I mean, he's 2.5 better than everybody else. Hassan Riddick had 16. Myles Garrett had 16. Always a threat for Defense Player of the Year. Matthew Judon had a great year, 15.5 sacks. And Chris Jones. People don't really talk about Chris Jones that much. 15.5 sacks also. And then Alex Highsmith for the Pittsburgh Steelers at 14.5. And then Micah Parsons, obviously, 13.5. And then my dog, Brian Burns, my favorite defensive player in the league and my favorite player on the Panthers, 12.5, tying with Max Crosby and J.J. Watt. Happy retirement to J.J. Watt. Wow. All right. Well, it's definitely Nick Bosa. I didn't even know he had that many more sacks. I thought he was like 1 or 2 ahead. I didn't realize he led by the 2.5. Wow. I know I said 1 or 2, but I thought he was like 1 ahead. Sorry. I thought he had like 16.5. It was like half ahead. Wow. Okay. He's definitely winning Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker III. I think it could go to Garrett Wilson, but I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker III because he played really well for that Seattle team, and Seattle made the playoffs too, and I think that gives him a little bit of an extra boost. So I think Kenneth Walker III. He was great, and rookie running back, really playing well. Doesn't always happen. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to give it to Sauce Gardner. I think if Hutchinson definitely could win it, but Sauce Gardner was lights out for the Jets and is already probably one of the best corners in the league. So definitely Sauce Gardner. Coach of the Year, it's Brian Daboll. I don't think anybody's going to debate me. I think Brian Daboll completely turned around the Giants in essentially 1 year, and that's really impressive. So the only one I really think had a shot at him was Robert Saleh or McDaniel for the Dolphins because is it McDaniels? I think it's Mike McDaniel, right? I feel really dumb now. I actually don't know. That's Mike McDaniel. Okay, I was right. Huh. Okay. So I think he had a shot if like the Dolphins would have won the division over the Bills, but they didn't. So I think it's me, Brian Daboll. Comeback Player of the Year. I don't know if Geno Smith can win this, but he deserves it because he went from a guy that we thought was just a backup to having a better year than Russell Wilson did in Seattle some years. Like that was insane. So yeah, he had an extra game. Yes, he broke Russell Wilson's Seahawk record but he had 17 games. I get that, but still he broke it by like 200 yards. Like I think he broke it by more than that, right? How much did he break it by? I have to look this up real quick because if he broke it by more than like 250 yards, that would mean it's like more than a game. You know what I mean? It's more than one game is what I'm saying. Let me look up record, and then I'll look up Wilson. Let's see if I can find this stat. Okay, most single season passing yards. All right. Let's see it. It's loading in. Geno Smith break record for the most. Okay. Well, so he set the record for the most single-season passing yards in Seahawks history, breaking a stat previously held by Russell Wilson in his first year there. It's freaking crazy. All right, let's see. All right, so Russell Wilson, his record was 4,282. No. So Wilson's was 219, and so 4,219, and then he broke it by like 70 yards. So yes, there was an extra game, but Russell Wilson set that record in 2020 with 17 games. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He still just flat out outplayed him. That's amazing. Okay, I'm really glad. I'm sorry that was like a lot of me just kind of sitting there making odd noises while I looked up the numbers, but I'm so happy that Geno Smith. That's awesome. So yeah, Geno Smith I think deserves comeback player of the year because he's freaking awesome. So props to the Seahawks making the playoffs. It's awesome. They're probably going to draft a quarterback, and I don't care. It's freaking cool. They're cool. I think it's fun that they made the playoffs. It sucks that they're going to play the Niners. I saw an interview with Pete Carroll. He's like, yeah, we played the Niners. I was like, yeah, that sucks, big dog. All right, it's time for my NFL playoff predictions. Let's start with the NFC because it's a little more cut and dry. So the 2 Niners versus the 7 Seahawks in the wild card. They play today at 4:30. I think it's going to be not a very difficult game at all. Niners are going to smoke them. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL. I think they have become essentially the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL, where if you don't know in a year who to pick the Niners. They will always be competitive with Kyle Shanahan and George Kittle and Nick Bosa and, you know, this great O-line they have, this great defense they have. I'm sure I'm forgetting other guys. Fred Warner. You know, they will, for the next 5 years, they will be a threat every year for the Super Bowl. They're not going to win it every year, but they will be a threat every year because they got the best coach in the league. They have just overall, I think, the best team, like overall on average. And I mean, that's apparent by the fact that they've had 3 different starting quarterbacks this year. And, you know, the third one, the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, is killing it for them. And I 100% believe that if Brock Purdy was in a different organization, he would not do this well. It's just the fact that I'm not trying to take anything away from Brock Purdy because I think he's played great. I think he's been an amazing surprise for them. He's played excellently, and I really believe in him. Part of that is because I really trust this Niners team. It's a greatly run organization. I think the Niners got it really put together, and that's why I really trust them. And I think they're kind of becoming, like I said, like the Spurs of the NFL. It's like every year they're a threat. And they're just consistent. And they got a great coach, Popovich, Shanahan. And I remember I said before, you know, I think if the Niners could get a good quarterback, they could just rock the NFC and just win it 2 out of the next 3 years. I said at the beginning of this year, and I stand by that. I'm really a big Niners backer, I think. You know, my dad was making jokes because he's a big Steelers fan, and he really likes watching the Bills. And I was like, the Bills are essentially your second favorite team. And he's like, yeah, they kind of are. And he goes, it's like you and your Niners. And I'm like, I do really back the Niners. They're just greatly run organization. I really have a lot of respect for the Niners. So, I mean, I probably will be kind of rooting for them. I will be rooting for them in the NFC because even though I really like the Eagles, I really like Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders and Jason Kelce. The Niners, I just think, you know, every year for the next, 5 years, they're going to be a threat to win the Super Bowl. And maybe one of them will win. I'm really hinting a lot to my Super Bowl, aren't I? All right, so yeah, I'm taking them over the Seahawks. They move on to the divisional. Vikings-Giants. Vikings are the 3 seed here, Giants are the 6. I'm going to take the Giants. I think the Giants could get an upset win. This Vikings team is shaky. I think they've looked worse as the season's gone on. And they have to win a lot of close games, and I think eventually their string of luck is going to come to an end, and I think it's going to be against a tough Giants team that wants to have a win really badly. The Giants team plays hard. $4, 5 Cowboys. This is being billed as like the big game. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I think Tom Brady's going to beat them. I think the Cowboys are really good. I think Brady's got it in to beat them, though. I don't think the Cowboys are as good as everybody acts like. I don't think they're terrible by any means, but I just don't think they're really insane, like people want to act. So, taking the Bucs over the Cowboys. Divisional. That gives us the 1 Eagles versus the 6 Giants. Pretty easy game here for the Eagles. They did beat them the last game of the season. I mean, if I'm not mistaken. They played the last week against each other, and they did beat them. Yeah. They did beat them. I had to think about it. I was like, right? Isn't that how that worked? So I can't get this to load in. Yeah, the week before, looking for the Eagles score. Yeah, okay, 22-16. So, yeah, they did. Yeah, so it should be pretty easy for them. I don't really think the Eagles are going to lose, especially early on. I think the Eagles are very good. I mean, if you wanted me to sit here and tell you that I picked the Eagles, Bills in the Super Bowl, I could do that, but I just don't. I don't really want to do that. I don't think that's interesting, and I think I'd be lying to you, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I'm taking the Eagles to beat. I'm saying like the chalk answer for this. If I started this podcast and did the chalk answer, I would be like, all right, it's Eagles, Bills, Super Bowl, and I take the Bills to beat them, and then I'd hang up. But I don't really think it's going to happen. No matter how badly my girlfriend thinks the Bills will win, I really am not the biggest backer of them. And my dad also likes them too. I'm just not the biggest Bills guy. But right now we're talking about the NFC. I'm getting off topic. So Eagles over the Giants. Niners, Bucks. Niners are bringing Brady down. That's that. Brady's last game in Tampa? Probably. Brady's last game in the NFL? Probably not. Don't know where he's going to go there. I don't think he's going to go to the Jets. I don't think it's in the cards. Maybe Vegas? I'm thinking Vegas. So, all right, NFC Championship, Niners, Eagles. You know I'm taking the Niners. Eagles have a great season, like amazing. I think it comes to an end here. I just think, I know you're taking Brock Purdy when a rookie hasn't won a playoff game since 2012. Yeah, I am. I think this is the guy. I think Purdy's played absolutely amazing for the Niners. I think he's been everything they needed him to be. And I think the Niners are just an absolute machine of a team. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, offensively, they are insane. I'm taking them. And also, defensively, they're great. I mean, they got D'Amico Ryans as the DC. He's freaking awesome. So, I'm like, come on. This Niners to the Super Bowl. AFC, wild card. 2 Bills, 7 Dolphins. This could be a really fun wild card if everyone is healthy. It is not because Tua is out. The Bills will decimate them, and that's that. Really sucks because the Dolphins really could have been something this year, but Tua's hurt. So that's that. Bengals, Ravens. The Ravens could have won the Super Bowl this year. I honestly believe they could have done it. In a year where there's a lot of competitiveness, I think this could have been their shot. But Lamar's out. This game doesn't even really need to be played. Bengals will beat them pretty easily. Bengals. Jaguars, Chargers. This one makes me upset. So those of you who were watching Week 18 in the NFL and watched the Broncos-Chargers game saw Brandon Staley essentially be like, LMFAO, I don't really care if I win this because we're already in the playoffs and our spot isn't going to change, and just let the Chargers lose. I want you to ask yourself if you believe that's the same coach that could bring the Chargers a Super Bowl. A coach that just was okay with losing. Now, granted, this is the same guy who started all of their starters knowing that if they lost this game, it didn't matter. So I don't understand the thought process here. It's okay with losing the game, but we're going to play all of our starters and got Mike Williams hurt. Either you're going all in, or you're not playing all your starters and you're okay with losing. I don't understand it. It really pissed me off. I don't like Brandon Staley at all. I don't think he's very good for the Chargers. I want them to get somebody else new. And I honestly don't think they're going to win this game. I think he'll find a way to blow it for them. He's the wrong coach for Herbert. He truly is. I don't think he should have fit. They never should have gotten rid of their old coach. And, you know, Herbert is so talented. I genuinely believe he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. I have no doubt about that. I think, you know, like him, Burrow, and Allen all have a shot at Mahomes. They don't right now. Mahomes is the best. But I think all of them potentially could be. He really, I think, is the two. Like, potentially the two at some points. Like, he's so good. But no, we have Brandon Staley calling the plays for him. And whoever their OC is, I can't remember his name, but he pissed me off too. Oh, it's freaking Lombardi. It's Lombardi calling it. It's Lombardi's grandson. Yeah, just because he has the last name Lombardi, he thinks he's hot stuff. He's not. Bro really thinks he's Vincent Lombardi, and he's not. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I need to take a moment. I'm so pissed. Is Vince Lombardi's real name Vincent? I don't know why I said Vincent. I think his name was just Vince. I apologize, Lombardi. You're great. But your grandson? Not. Okay? He's not good. And he does bad things to Herbert, and I don't like it. He makes him not look as good as he is. Joe. His name's freaking Joe. Don't like Joe Lombardi. He's bad. Him and Staley both. Get him out. Get him out. I own a Justin Herbert shirt. I might wear it tonight. Especially because they're going to lose to the Jaguars. I'm taking it. I'm taking the Jaguars to beat them. I think the Jaguars have looked really good. I honestly do. They shipped off my boy James Robinson, which they shouldn't have done because the Jets don't even use him as much as they should because James Robinson is the freaking man. But whatever. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has looked really good. He's starting to become the player we all thought he could be. Good for Trev. Good for the Jags. Not a big Trevor Lawrence guy. Like I don't think he's bad. I'm just saying he's not my favorite player. And but the Jags are good. I think Peterson's a good coach for them, and I think they could get a big win here. And so They've played really well recently as of late. I think if there's a team that's going to play upset and just kind of make it to the AFC title on a whim, it would be Jaguars. It would not be the Chargers. If there's a team that's going to beat, win in the wild card and then beat the Chiefs, it would be the Jaguars. I don't think the Chargers have it in them. I think Herbert does. I think Eckler does. Staley doesn't have it. Neither does freaking Joe Lombardi. Chargers are losing to the Jaguars. I can't believe my freaking boy is going to be out. His first ever playoff game, he's going to lose to Trevor Lawrence. It sucks. It's third season in the NFL, losing to a guy in the second season. Sucks. All right. Divisionals. Chiefs-Jags. I think there's honestly a chance here for the Jaguars upset, but there's no shot I'm taking that. Chiefs are winning it, going on to the AFC title. All right, still divisional. Bills-Bengals. Big game. Obviously, reschedule, essentially, of the game they were supposed to play, the Monday night game. And so that'll, I'm sure that'll be kind of a big deal on the broadcast. This is, to me, there's three teams in the AFC, right? It's Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. If you're taking the Super Bowl, you're picking one of those three. And this, to me, is the big decision. I'm going to go Bengals. I think they just look really good as of late. I believe in them more than the Bills. I believe the Bengals will win. Bengals beat Bills. AFC title, rematch of last year. Chiefs, Bengals. Chiefs really could have won it last year. Bengals are better than last year. I think the Chiefs kind of look better than last year, too. I mean, both teams look freaking awesome. I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm doing it. I'm taking the Bengals to the Super Bowl. It's a risky pick. I think I could go Chiefs-Niners as a rematch. It's 54, a great Super Bowl. Still remember watching it. So good. Obviously, picked Mahomes, my boy. Rooted for him. But this time, taking the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Again, back-to-back years taking the Bengals to the Super Bowl. So, actually, last year, I took them to win it, so that's different. But, all right. Bengals beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. So this brings us to Super Bowl 57 in State Farm Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Bengals versus the Niners. On one hand, you've got Joe Burrow, a quarterback who probably my favorite college athlete, just period. Like when he was in college, my guy. Loved him at LSU. Easily my favorite quarterback in like college football history. And that LSU team is my favorite college football team ever. Team was awesome. And then he gets drafted to the Bengals. I still really like him, but living in Ohio, liking a Bengals guy and then not being a Bengals fan, it's just kind of a lot. So that's why he's kind of become like my third or fourth favorite player, like quarterback-wise. On the other hand, we have the team that's probably like my second favorite team on a real note. I just think the team itself is so good. And they got Mr. Irrelevant as their quarterback. Can you imagine here, like, the video package pre-Super Bowl here? Like, let's set this up for you. The number one pick, Heisman winner, underdog, transfers away from Ohio State, wins the Heisman, wins the national title, has an insane college stat line. Number one pick in the draft, completely turns around, hometown franchise. Against the last pick in the draft, comes into a team that had just went through two guys that had started for them. Their number 3 pick guy, and then their guy that they'd went to the Super Bowl for. Like, it's completely different. You got a guy who completely turned around a franchise and a guy who came into winning and elevated it. So it's really freaking cool, the parallel here. And I think the NFL could really hit on something interesting. Obviously, my girl Rihanna is going to be the halftime show. I am so excited for that. I cannot wait. It's going to be like the best halftime show of all time. I stand by it. It's going to be awesome. Probably not the best halftime show of all time, but it will be up there. I guarantee it. It will be top 10, maybe top 5. She's going to kill it. So I don't think she's going to do the song Sex With Me. It's very upsetting. I don't know why she wouldn't. But maybe Goodell isn't interested in Sex With Me. You take that sentence as you will. Regardless, Bengals, Niners, I think it's pretty clear I'm taking the Niners. I think the 49ers will win the Super Bowl in a year of a lot of competitiveness. I'm taking the consistency. I'm taking the great coach. I'm taking the team that, on paper, I believe is the best team in the NFL, and I think Brock Purdy's going to step up. And Brock Purdy will be a Super Bowl champion as a rookie, which is insane, as the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant to Super Bowl champion. I mean, we just watched a walk-on win back-to-back national titles and absolutely destroy it. So Stetson Bennett's done it. Brock Purdy is the equivalent. So there we go. 49ers, baby. Super Bowl MVP, I have as Nick Bosa. I think the defense will show up big for them. It would be freaking awesome if Purdy won Super Bowl MVP, but I'm already kind of overstaying my welcome here by picking them to win the Super Bowl. It's kind of a risky pick, but I honestly think the Niners are the best team in the league, and I think Purdy's been playing great for them. I genuinely believe the Super Bowl 57, will be going back to San Francisco. The Niners winning their first championship under Kyle Shanahan, and I honestly think they're going to be back here again. I don't know if they'll win it again, but they're going to be back in the Super Bowl again because this team's great. So that is officially it. I did put my money where my mouth is. I've been a big Niners backer for pretty much the whole year. Thought they were freaking good. 10-game winning streak. Whew. So, yeah, the 2 longest winning streaks in the NFL, and I took them to play against each other in the Super Bowl. Not a bad way to pick. Not a bad way to pick. All right, so that's the whole show. I will probably watch some more movies soon. I'm probably going to hit Reservoir Dogs pretty soon. I'm going to run through all Tarantino's movies because I got those all for Christmas, so that is very exciting for me. I'm going to start The Last of Us. Very excited to watch that. So maybe I'll talk about that on the next one, how I'm feeling about Last of Us. Continue to watch Winning Time, the Lakers show. I really like that. Show's freaking cool. Let's see if I continue to watch Transformers. I thought it was pretty cool when I was watching it. I like how they animate it like the old one and like the old original. And it looks more like that with like a modern touch, and I like that. Probably going to run through all the Christopher Nolan films. So what I'll probably end up doing once I watch all the Tarantino movies, I'll probably do a ranking of just Tarantino's movies, and that'll be its own episode. And then I'll probably do Nolan's ranking because my 3 favorite directors of all time, in this order, go Tarantino, then Nolan, then Spielberg. Watching all Spielberg's films would be an insane undertaking, and I might have that done by the time I'm 40. So at the moment, though, if I can watch all Nolan's films and all Tarantino's films in the year of 2023, that'd be pretty freaking cool, and I will rank them both on the pod. So that'll be fun for me. Real quick, though, Marriage Story, freaking banger. Started watching it, and I was like, I don't know if I really like this. This is pretty upsetting. It's a big drama. And then as it went on, I was like, I don't know if this is really for me. And then by the end of it, I was like, dang, that was an insanely good movie. So I think I might just watch every Best Picture nominee from 2019 because every single one of those movies interests me. I'm not going to list them because if you were really interested, you can look it up. But every single one of those interests me. And I own 1917. I bought that a couple years ago on Blu-ray. So like, this movie looks dope. And I bought it. I think it was like 2020 fall I bought it. Like I went to the store and I saw it and I was like, okay, might as well buy that. I probably like that. And then I never got around to it. So maybe I should watch that. What was I going to say? Like that's it. Yeah, so Nolan movies, Tarantino movies. Hitting the Tarantino's first, I think, but I'll probably watch it through all Nolan's. The only Nolan movies I've actually watched are, Batman's and Inception. Yeah, I feel like I thought I'd seen more than that. Oh, and Tenet, of course, Tenet. So yeah, I got to hit Interstellar. I feel like I really like Interstellar. We'll see. Pretty excited. For those, I probably won't do a tier. Tiers usually when I have to rank a lot of stuff like Marvel. So for Nolan and Tarantino, I probably just number them, like 1 to 10. That'll be interesting because I've never, so let's say I put Reservoir Dogs at 4 in my ranking for, Tarantino movies. At the end of the year when I do the sort of sporties, let's say I had it 4 and Hateful Eight 5, right? Does that mean it has to be above that? I feel like my opinion might change. So that'll be interesting. We'll see if my opinion changes over the course of the year. So I don't know when that'll be out. That could be next month. That could be in June. Who knows how long it'll take me to watch all those movies. Regardless, I've been enjoying my movies. 3 in the span of 2 weeks, pretty impressive. But right now, at the moment, I'm pretty excited for some football. Obviously, really excited to get really into the thick of the NBA stuff. But, we're at the end of the football season, and we all know I'm a big old NFL boy. So I'm very excited for the Niners to win the Super Bowl. I love Super Bowl parties, and I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl with the Bengals. I got a lot of friends that are Bengals fans. I hate rooting against Burrow, but I'm going to freaking do it if it's the Niners because Brock Purdy, big dog. I'm not going to say his nickname on air. What rhymes with Brock? I'm going to end on that note. Niners win the Super Bowl. See you in the next one.